Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Las Vegas. It is wonderful to be together, both virtual and in person. Your worship team today consists of myself and Nina in the sanctuary, and Laura Marie Strawberry Nopoles, who has contributed from afar. My pronouns are they, them, Nina's are she, her, and Laura Marie's are key, kin. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever you believe about life's journey, you are welcome here. As you've probably noticed, today's service already feels different than when we usually come together. Our chairs are arranged differently and our welcome rituals have been changed. Today, we are practicing different ways of being together to facilitate greater care and inclusion. This sanctuary is a special space for us. Important and healing work happens here. There are plenty of things that represent what our community values here, whether that's our chalice, our altar, or our covenant. Today, we're oriented toward what matters most, each other. One of the most beautiful things we can do together is practice creating inclusive, worshipful spaces. We encourage you to be present and curious in moments of discomfort today, always remaining open to the wonder of how we can be made new again and again. One of the ways that we stay connected is by displaying our names and pronouns. And we thank everyone who is doing that today in our sanctuary and who has renamed themselves to include this information on Zoom. Please now silence your cell phones and refrain from using the chat on Zoom throughout the service. Please also move in ways that your body needs. It's okay if you need to wiggle, stand up, sleep, or fidget. We have moved the sanctuary around in hopes that you'll feel comfortable and welcome today. All needs, breeds, bodies, ages, ancestries, and abilities are welcome here. Welcome to our service. Before we ring the bell, please take a moment to greet all present who make this space sacred. You might say hello or wave good morning or just acknowledge each other's presence. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Las Vegas is situated on the traditional homelands of the Nuwuvi Southern Paiute people. We are grateful for the land itself, for those who have stewarded it for generations, and for the opportunity to worship, learn, work, grow, and to be in community with this land and her peoples. We encourage everyone present here to engage in continued learning about the indigenous peoples who continue to live and work on this land, including the Las Vegas Paiute tribe and the Mawapa Band of Paiutes, and about the historical and present realities of colonialism. It is important for us to recognize and appreciate the use of Southern Paiute land as part of our mission to become a welcoming and inclusive place for worship, spiritual enrichment, and exploration. Please join with me in a moment of silence and reflection. Thank you for that sacred silence. It is now time to light our chalice.
When we gather together, we light the chalice, a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. The chalice reminds us that we are connected to a much larger religious tradition that stretches out of the past and reaches around the world and leads into our shared future. And join with me. We light the chalice as a reminder that together we are a beacon in the desert. May its light lead the way to love, acceptance, and justice as we strive for personal and societal transformation.
Hear these opening words from Amy Kenny, quoted from her book, My Body is Not a Prayer Request. Disability justice affirms the unique qualities and knowledge of each and every body-mind, disabled or otherwise. It stresses that nobody, disabled or otherwise, is inherently worth more than another. Each body has needs and strengths that fluctuate over time. Disability justice doesn't create a hierarchy of needs, but holds that all bodies have needs that must be met without shame. The disability justice movement is built on the premise that all bodies must move together to thrive so that no person is ever left behind. It moves at the pace of the most vulnerable, the most marginalized, so everybody together can thrive. We crafted this service today imperfectly, and it is subject to the limits of our own ideas, curiosities, and imagination. There are countless ways to talk about disability justice, and we believe that talking about it imperfectly is more important and better than not talking about it at all. Disability is not a monolith. Every experience and every individual is unique. We hope that you receive the voices that you hear today with curious ears and an open, soft heart. First, we'll hear from Laura Marie, guiding us through disability and access and connecting it to our UU principles. And I'll say our tech team today is doing a lot of streaming directly from YouTube, and they're being quite flexible and kind along the way. So we appreciate their flexibility and in turn offer grace as we move through the service today. So first we'll hear from Laura Marie.
Because your body-mind doesn't work that way. The thing others can do, maybe you used to be able to do, or maybe you never could. Your capability is significantly different from what you wish to do or need to do. First, there's a medical disability, so how a doctor might see the difference as something to be cured, it's the actual physical or mental health issue. Second, there's social disability, so being seen as different and usually lesser than by other people and in culture. Social disability includes how we're discriminated against, treated as not important, and our access needs going unmet in shared spaces. Also, not being represented in media as neutral or positive people, problems with access at work, spaces not realistic for our bodies, all the social pieces that aren't the physical pain or difference in ability. Then third, there's taking on being disabled as a justice issue. So realizing that there's deep injustice and we need to do better in systems. Recognizing disabled people are getting less, that's not right, and we need to change it. So those are the three ways: medical, social, and disabled as a justice issue. Then access is being able to get what we need. So access can look like being able to stim in order to regulate, downtime and rest, knowing the route beforehand for a march, handrails, elevators, ramps, parking spaces, benches, low scent event spaces, contrast flooring, and websites that are friendly to screen readers. This service about disability justice touches on UU principles. 1, Recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every person. 2, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. 3, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. 6, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And 7, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part.
Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing number 298 in the gray hymnal, Wake Now My Senses. We will be singing all 5 verses, and they will also be displayed on the screen. Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of share your love, giving reason as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim, stone of time, and praise the sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering, children and bread, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now, my conscience, with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose hearts are from each place, God's love embraces all human race. Wake now, my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. We will share, work toward a planet transformed by our care.
Good morning, everyone. How's it feel to be around? It's a little uncomfortable, a little bit. Yeah, it's okay. It's right. It's look out. And this is all people who are here with us together doing this hard work, right? So this is kind of an amazing, I love the opportunity for us to have, right? This something different, something that pushes us a little bit, right? Makes us get out of our comfort zone. So, but today I am going to read to you from this book, The Way to Start a Day. This is a story by Bird Baylor, and the illustrations, although we probably cannot all see them, but you are welcome to come look at them after the service. It is illustrated by Peter Parnell. So the way to start a day is this. Go outside, face east, and greet the sun with some kind of blessing or chant or song that you made yourself and keep for early morning. The way to make the song is this. Don't try to think what word to use until you are standing there alone. When you feel the sun, you'll feel the song too. Just sing it, but don't think you're the only one who has ever worked that magic. Your caveman brothers knew what to do. Your cavewoman sisters knew too. They sang to help the sun come up and lifted their hands to its power. A morning needs to be sung too. A new day needs to be honored. People have always known that. Didn't they chant at dawn in the sun temples of Peru? And leapt and swayed to the Aztec flutes in Mexico? And drum sunrise songs way off in the Congo? And ring 1,000 small gold bells in China? Didn't the pharaohs of Egypt say the only sound at dawn should be the sound of songs that please the morning sun? They knew what songs to sing. People always seemed to know, and everywhere they knew what gifts the sun wanted. In some places, they gave gold. In some places, they gave flowers. In some places, sacred smoke blown in the 4 directions. Feathers and good thoughts, some places fire, but everywhere they knew to give something. And everywhere they knew to turn their face eastward as the sun came up. Some people still know. When the first pale streak of light cuts through the darkness, wherever they are, those people make offerings and send strong, mysterious songs to the sun. They know exactly how to start a day. Their blessings float over the wind, over pueblos, cornfields in New Mexico, and you hear their morning songs in villages in Africa. And they salute sunrise ceremoniously in high, cold mountains in Peru. Today, long before dawn, they were already waiting in Japan with prayers, and they were gathering in their little shrines in India with marigolds in their hands. They were bathing in sacred Ganges rivers as the sun came up. And high over the mesa edge in Arizona, they were holding a baby towards the sun. They were speaking the child's name so the sun would hear and know their child. It had to be sunrise, and it had to be that first sudden moment. That's when all the power of the life is in sky. Some people say there is a new sun every day, that it begins its life at dawn and lives for one day only. They say you have to welcome it. You have to make the sun happy. You have to make a good day for it. You have to make a good day for the world, for it to live its one day life. And the way to start, they say, is just by looking east at dawn. When they look east tomorrow, you can too. Your song will be an offering. And you'll be one more person, one more time in a world saying hello to the sun, letting it know you are there. If the sky turns a color,
sky never was before. Just watch it. That's part of the magic. That's the way to start a day.
We will now ground ourselves in the present and honor the thread of humanity that connects us as living beings. If you have someone or an emotion you are carrying that you would like held up, please add their name or that emotion to the chat. As humans striving toward a beloved community, we have the privilege and responsibility to hold on to each other as we live the joys and sorrows of life. We take this sacred time to acknowledge the people we hold and the emotions we carry in our hearts, that in sharing, our triumph and joy may be multiplied, and our pain and sorrow may lessen their sting. I will be reading all the names and emotions written in the book in our sanctuary, and Irma will be reading the names and emotions written in the chat. After each, we welcome you to create a small sound in recognition. This could be snapping your fingers, rubbing your hands together, tapping your legs or your arm, or a small hum or sigh. Let us show the strength of our community to support and celebrate one another through this practice. Today, we hold up Dave Veeder, Palestine, Seamus Phelan, Richard Kuznia, Charlie, Aaron, Rachel, Dan, Madonna, not the singer, Alexandria, and Ross Bowers. The emotions that we are carrying this week include anticipation, ever hopeful, uncertainty, grief, worthiness, lightness, transition, and woyaya. Irma, do we have any names or emotions in the chat?
Yes. Annette Delgado. Annie Delgado. Begonia Locker. Trenton Willie.
May we hold all that was spoken and all that is kept in the silence of our hearts in love and compassion.
In times of change or having conversations about where we are versus where we want to be as individuals or communities, lots of feelings can arise in our physical bodies. Lots of feelings can arise in our spirits and in our heads and our hearts. And so today's meditative time is going to be a reminder to our physical bodies, to our minds and heads and hearts, that as we're learning and as we're growing and as we're changing, we're okay. If you took a comfort item from the front table, I encourage you to pull it out right now if you'd like to have something in your hand. If you didn't, that's okay. Options to place your hand on your heart, or even just notice where there's contact on the back of the chair, on your back body, your feet on the ground, and you may choose to close your eyes or soften your gaze. And take a couple breaths together, easy breaths, feeling the way it moves through your body. I'm going to offer an inhale and exhale and a small statement that you can either repeat out loud or repeat silently in your heart. We inhale my mind is open to learning. We exhale, my mind is open to learning. We inhale, my heart is open to learning. We exhale, my heart is open to learning. We inhale, my body is open to learning. We exhale, my body is open to learning. We inhale, my spirit is open to learning. We exhale, my spirit is open to learning. Take one cleansing breath. And as we continue to tell stories and hear stories and sing songs and celebrate the things that bind us together and that make us unique and individual, may we stay malleable and soft and open to change and learning. I feel happy now to welcome Lisa McAllister, our member and friend, to share the first personal story of today.
Can you hear me? Yes. Awesome. I'm disabled and I'm proud. Some people hear that statement and think that those two attributes don't match or don't really have anything to do with each other. I'm one of those people. I've been disabled for over 40 years. In that time, I've felt lots of ways about that. And many of the ways that I have felt are ableist. This is called internalized ableism. It means thinking that being able-bodied or able-minded is superior to being disabled. Society is highly ableist. We absorb these ableist ideas constantly through media, through conversations, through every place we go. And then some of us, well, actually lots of us, become disabled. But that doesn't make our ableism go away. Sometimes it makes it worse. I was asked to give a personal story to illuminate today's topic of disability justice. Justice requires us to be fair. Ableism, especially internalized ableism, which is difficult to recognize, prevents us from being fair. In my case, it prevents me from being fair to myself. For the first 3 decades of my disability, I did not feel like disabled people were my people, and I said so often. I didn't just talk these feelings, I lived them. I worked very hard to make things as easy as possible for the tabs in my life. Oh, I'm sorry. TAB stands for temporarily able-bodied. I arranged social occasions, hosted at my house, researched accessibility for everywhere we might be going. I made sure that I was never late. I was the life of the party, always up for anything, even if I didn't necessarily feel comfortable with it. Beyond that, I did everything I could to minimize my appearance of disability. I got rid of the van with the wheelchair lift as fast as I could. I practiced for hours lifting my chair in and out of the car so that I could be independent of that stigmatized equipment. I minimized my chair as much as possible. Wait, how could I do that? I got the smallest, lightest chair I could, so I did it literally. But I did it in other ways too. So when Larry and I were dating, we went to have a couples photo shoot because we were cute like that. I asked the photographer what we could do to hide my chair in the shot. Yes, that's right. I asked the photographer. So it wasn't society suggesting that to me. That was me pursuing an image of myself without the chair being seen. It wasn't that I hated the chair, because I didn't. But I didn't love it either. I hated my legs because they didn't work. I named them so I could curse at them more effectively. I would get so frustrated that I would hit them over and over while screaming at them. But it wasn't my legs that I was mad at. It was the world that made it so hard for me. It was the way people looked at me, that they ignored me or they pitied me. It was the steps to get in anywhere, maybe just one step. One step might as well be a million. It was the bathrooms. It is still the bathrooms. Bathrooms are the social justice battleground. Oh, that one stall that we have that you can use. Sorry, toilet is clogged. Didn't get around to cleaning that. Sorry, they hung the door wrong so that you can't shut it when you go in and have any privacy. Sorry, a tab went in there to have a major intestinal breakdown. Sorry, that big stall is where we put the changing table. Sorry, that big stall is the only place where a nursing person can use their breast pump in privacy. Sorry, not sorry. Everyone poops, you know. But not everyone has to worry literally every single time they leave their home that they will have access to a place where they can relieve themselves in dignity. I can honestly say that before my disability, I absolutely never gave a single thought to finding a place to pee. And when the world says to you every day, everywhere, that you don't matter enough for us to care about that availability with any consistency, it's really hard to feel valid, to feel worthy. It is a battle. And I hate to be the bearer of tidings, but a wheelchair user coming to UUCLV sees only one thing: chairs. Chairs and chairs and chairs, chairs cramming this room, chairs in the library at the table, chairs, chairs and chairs in the social hall. And not any room for my chair. Or maybe just one place for my chair. And people telling me, oh, wait, let us move a chair for you, means you're only planning for tabs to be here. You're not planning for me. I'm an afterthought. I'm an inconvenience. I don't even register. So yes, I have lots of internalized ableism. And after decades of being disabled, I'm tired. The effort it takes to minimize my demands on others, to try to fit in, to be graceful, to never look like I'm making any effort, is exhausting. To smile when someone says to me, oh, I didn't even notice your chair. I guess people expressing that to me means I am doing a great job at letting my own ableism distract from this reality. A few years ago, I had my consciousness raised by disability Twitter. Really miss disability Twitter. Thanks, Elon. Disability Twitter taught me how my actions were demeaning myself. I learned that the disability community is my community. I am welcome there. I am seen, I am validated, I am valued. And no one there expects me to keep up this dog and pony show of acting like disability is no big deal. It's not hard. I am normal in the world's eyes. It is a relief to have a place where I can put that act down. You may not have noticed anything different about me or my behavior, so let me give you an example. I often have to carry things on my lap because hands are busy. But things often fall off my lap because my hands are busy. What makes carrying things on my lap easier is if I hold the straps or the handles of the bag in my mouth. But that's weird, right? People just don't do that. It's odd. It makes the people watching feel comfortable. But now that is what I do because I just don't care what you think. Except I do. I want you to think that people adapt to whatever situation is to accomplish their tasks. Tabs carry a ridiculous number of bags in their arms or hands because they refuse to take 2 trips. I mean, I do respect that, but it's weird. It's odd. It makes the people watching them feel uncomfortable. But people do that. And disabled people are people. And so we do that in our way, with bag handles in our mouths, because we're people. We are people.
For today's reading, I'll be reading from the book My Body Is Not a Prayer Request by Amy Kenny. At the end of each of the chapters in this book, Amy Kenny writes a top 10 list. These are used to highlight the ways that thoughtless, ableist language has been harmful to her as a disabled person. Often, these are well-intentioned, but not received with love or kindness. This is a top 10 list of at leasts that have been said to her. As I read through them, consider how we communicate with disabled people and how our language can shift to be more inclusive and loving. Top 10 at leasts. Number 10, at least you'll be running in heaven. Number 9, at least you're only physically disabled. Number 8, at least it's not cancer. Number 7, at least you have a husband to take care of you. Number 6, at least you don't look disabled. Number 5, at least you can count your blessings. Number 4, at least you don't let your disability define you. Number 3, at least you've inspired others. Number 2, at least this is part of God's plan. Number 1, at least you get good parking. We gather as a religious community to give each one of us a place where we can do the work of many. The offering supports the mission of the congregation to be a beacon of love and justice in the desert and supports local organizations working to make our community a better place for all. The offering this month is shared with our own UUCLV food pantry. Our food pantry is held on the 3rd Saturday of each month, except for this month, when this food pantry will be on February 24th. In addition to the financial support from the offerings during the services this month, we are also running a hygiene product collection. And the event itself needs volunteers the morning of. The food pantry is one important and impactful way we make our community a better place. We feed hundreds of people right here in our neighborhood. This offering is a spiritual practice of generosity that this congregation does as a whole each week. Please join us as a member or friend in this practice. The link to donate your offering will be in the chat on Zoom, and our ushers will pass plates where you can donate. And now, please join with me. With gratitude for the abundance in our own lives, we give for the life of this congregation and the benefit of the larger community. As we pass the plates, we will be singing "From You I Receive," number 402 in the gray hymnal 3 times. From you I receive, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, together we share, and from this we live. Thank you all for your generous gifts of treasure. Our second story today is by Laura Marie about access intimacy.
Access Intimacy by Laura Marie. My housemate, Leon, is disabled. We both have chronic pain and autism. Leon was new to the house. He saw that I could only reach half the chairs at our community dining room table because of my physical differences. My choices were limited. So Leon asked for help and moved the table to a different orientation in the room. It had been in the same place for many years, maybe 20 years. Then I could reach all the chairs and have more choices of where to sit. As time passes, housemates shift the location of other furniture in ways that block my access to all the chairs, but we try to keep the edges clear so that I can use the whole table like other housemates. Like many moves toward access, Leon's active care benefits all of us. But I specifically feel loved that Leon moved the table. Leon cares about my body, and he's willing to endure pushback from housemates in order to prioritize my ability to sit anywhere. Some people could see this as logistical or not that important, but Leon is telling me with his actions that my body is valid. My body's needs are valid, and I deserve access. This love tastes like beautiful golden honey. Mia Mingus. Access intimacy is a special kind of intimacy where someone viscerally comprehends your access needs and cares with a deep respect for them. The term was coined by my disability justice hero, Mia Mingus. Access intimacy can form between 2 disabled people, but actually, not both of the people need to be disabled. I have felt access intimacy with abled persons. How does access intimacy form? Maybe the other person can relate to what I need and has a similar need, or maybe they have a huge heart with tons of compassion. Maybe they are a lover who is attuned to me somehow, like some part of my soul hums at the same frequency their soul hums at. Not lover in the sense of someone I have sex with necessarily, but lover in the sense of here on earth to love. Here are some more examples of access intimacy. Bump. I went to the YMCA with my homegirl bag. It had just opened, the new YMCA here in Eugene, Oregon, where I live. Bag and I waited in a long line to see if I could get a guest pass that day. After a few minutes, I realized a chair might help Bag, who's disabled with chronic pain. The line, like most lines, had no sitting options for disabled people, pregnant people, elders. So I had to be slightly brave to break culture's norms by scooting a chair over to Bag. In line, a little child was playing and bumped me. I was already in a heightened state of awareness, nervous from being in a crowded room in a new building. So it freaked me out to be suddenly touched without my consent, and I didn't see it coming. The form of autism I have sensory differences and feel a huge reaction to touch. Finally, Bag and I got up to the YMCA worker who had a computer. Then I felt something weird on my leg that panicked me. I looked down and saw the same kid as before had dropped something on the floor and was crawling by my feet to retrieve it. He had touched my bare leg. I was jarred out of my conversation with the YMCA worker. The kid went away, then did the same thing again, and I started to lose my crap. I backed away upset. I can't do this. I can't do this, I said. Say excuse me, a parent chastised the little kid. Of course, I wasn't mad at the kid or the parent. I was having a sensory response that wasn't intentional, rational, or grounded in actual unsafety. My body was panicking from non-consent surprise touch. My panic was amplified by being in a busy, crowded, unfamiliar environment. Bag got between me and the kid. She gave me her headphones, which I held in my hands and was too overwhelmed to put on. I was temporarily frozen and nonverbal. The kid and parent left. Bag paid for my guest pass, and somehow Bag moved us out of that area of the YMCA. Are you okay? Bag asked. The kid kept bumping me, I said. It freaked me out. Yeah, Bag said. Thank you for helping me. I'll feel better soon, I said. Of course, Bag said. Bag never shamed me or blamed me for having a big reaction. It was her first time seeing me sensory upset like that. She was cautious and kind. Bag trusted me to be the same Laura Marie she knows. I held the headphones in my hands like a bouquet of flowers that symbolized I am loved. I hope to spend my life being close to Bag, doing access intimacy with her, as my spouse Ming and I do access intimacy with each other all day, in love, making family, with interdependence every day. We can endure crowded YMCA lines and anything together. Back. When I was emotionally overwhelmed and Ming wasn't around, sometimes I was having a panic attack because my mom died. I felt alone in the world, or I didn't trust my own body. I was terrified of death, others' deaths, and my own. Then other life problems would swirl together with death fears, so I was really scared. Sometimes I would ask my housemate Jack to help me. Jack has non-binary gender and uses they/them pronouns. Jack believes in consent and knows how to love. I would text Jack, "Can you touch my back for 10 minutes?" Jack would see my text, drop what they were doing, and say yes. We would meet and I would set a timer on my phone. They would sit by me and touch my back as I cried. I would flush out intense grief with Jack's caring witness. They helped me hold my pain. When Jack touched my back, I felt safe. Even though my mom died, and I'll die one day, it's okay. My culture has not abandoned me. I'm a valid person. It's appropriate to have big feelings. My feelings are okay, and I'm okay. Jack is not disabled, but Jack cares about people. We share access intimacy. When Jack held my panic with me, it was healing to be able to rely on them. I made an art about Jack after they had helped me a couple of times. The art has a bunny who's like me, thinking about baby bunnies in a heart. The words of the art say, "When I was with you, I wasn't afraid of dying." This art is about access intimacy. Trust, safety, and love. That's what I want my home to be like. Love. Access intimacy is one of my favorite ways of doing love. I hope I'm always holding others and held by others in ways that account for our entire selves, including our disabilities. My disabilities are sacred. They're part of who I am. They aren't an embarrassment. They are not failure. Just like I'm fat, queer, or any other aspect of who I am, my disabilities are okay. They're part of my experience as a person on earth. We don't need to hide who we are or what we need. All bodies are valid bodies. Access intimacy is a space where we don't need to fight for that. It's just a given that our bodies are valid and need what they need. We can collaborate on our comfort, survival, healing, and pleasure. Thank you to Mia Mingus for the term, and thank you to my spouse, Ming. Thank you to all my access intimacy buddies I mentioned today, and everyone who loves in all the ways of love. Just like I deserve access intimacy and my body is valid, you deserve access intimacy and your body is valid. I'm not going to dish up shame, and I'm not going to eat any shame that others dish up for me. No thank you to shame. What you need is okay. I would like to help form a culture, family, life, world, and place of worship where love is at the center, not money and not hierarchy.
Please rise in body or spirit and join with me in singing number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath, in the gray hymnal. Just as long as I have breath, I must answer to lie. Through the pain I made my way, still I fall each day. If fingers pointing through, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did wrong, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I don't want you. If that's what I did best, then I answer yes to love. As we are winding our service down to a close, we have a gift for you all, a list of resources that you might consider looking into. These resources were compiled by the team that brought the worship today. This is by no means an exhaustive list. We encourage you to continue exploring the many voices and stories of disability justice, both in and out of church spaces. We have the book, My Body Is Not a Prayer Request. We have a couple of websites, ILikeYourStims.com, SinsInvalid.com. We have a few articles for you to read. In the chat, this should be an attached document with active links. For those with paper copies, you can Google the names of these articles. You can also find poetry, podcasts, or additional ideas for continued learning. Thank you.
We're going to end where we started with some more words from Amy Kenny, who is the author of My Body Is Not a Prayer Request. She ends that book with two, what she calls benecryptions, one for disabled people and one for non-disabled people. And this is an excerpt, thank you. This is an excerpt from the benecryption for non-disabled people. May your love for God and for your disabled neighbors be deep enough to stretch you into the unknown. May it cast out your fears about getting it wrong, enabling you to trust that when you say the wrong word, miss an opportunity to be inclusive, forget about our disabled friends, that you are beloved all the same. And may your love be big enough to keep loving and love anyway, even when it's not perfect. May you foster belonging wherever you are, knowing that the prophetic witness of the disability community is always worth the cost. May you learn from disabled people what it means to truly, deeply be human. When we are so deeply invested in another's lives, there is no limit to how the healing of disability justice can flow through our community. Co-flourishing is enduring, messy when it's done well, but when we do it, it's really, really good. It's almost like God intended it that way.
And now it is time for our chalice extinguishing.
We release that which is called with love and gratitude, and we extinguish the flame, but not our commitment to being a beacon in the desert. This burns brightly until we gather again.
We have room for 3 announcements to be read at upcoming services. If you want your announcement read, please email Irma by Thursday and she will get it to the worship associate. Please include the name of the event, the date and time, a contact name, and a no more than 30-word description. Our first announcement is that the Las Vegas Men's Chorus is an LGBTQIA+ aligned group with the mission to strengthen our community and allies through musical performances. The chorus is performing their spring show entitled The British Are Coming on Saturday, March 24th at 4 p.m. on the UNLV campus. For more information, see Britain. Second, our Newcomers Chalice Circle will be meeting today in the library from noon to 2 p.m. All are welcome. We are also trying to get some more chalice circles started. Please see Ariel if you are interested. Finally, the Tarot Club will be meeting here at UUCLV this coming Friday, February 16th, from 5 to 7 p.m. We will talk about tarot and practice doing readings for each other. There will be extra decks to work with, so don't worry if you don't have your own. Again, see Ariel if you have questions. In addition to the few we have highlighted, there are many more announcements and events this week and in coming weeks. To see them, head over to our webpage or visit at uuclv.org. Thank you for being with us today. We hope you found this time together to be generative, loving, and curious. Thank you, Kay, for musical support, and to Rory and Lisa for storytelling today. Next Sunday, please join Mark for justice and the UU way. Go in peace, love, and justice.